What's up, guys? Today we are going to be talking about Eddington by Ari Aster, which was an experience to say the least. I first got into Ari Aster as with most people did with Hereditary, which I thought was really good. I wasn't the biggest fan of Hereditary's ending, however, and I'm not trying to knock the movie or anything. I feel like this is just a personal preference. But I feel like it would have been a lot better if they kind of left the supernatural stuff up in the air, and I've seen some people say that. But hey, Hereditary was still such a great film, and after watching Midsommar, I really liked Ari Aster. I felt that both Hereditary and Midsommar did such a great job at exploring grief. And although a lot of horror movies explore grief, it's not anything new, I felt like these kind of came at it in a new way, you know? These are films where you can just feel the character's emotions radiating off the screen, and I love that. From the two films I've seen from him, he seems to be really good at showcasing his character's emotions. And honestly, I really like that, because for me, I see some directors falter when trying to showcase the exact emotion they're going for. However, I feel Ari Aster can just depict such complex emotions, and it just seems so beautiful and also so dark in a way. Just a heads up, if you haven't seen Midsommar and Hereditary and you're planning on watching them, the day you watch them, make sure you have nothing else going, because they will ruin your entire day. I made the mistake of watching Hereditary one night when I was hanging out with a couple of friends, and for the rest of the night it was just so awkward because we were just all depressed. So yeah, that's just a warning for you guys who haven't seen Hereditary, but although it makes you extremely sad, I encourage you to watch it. It's a really good film. And although this film isn't as scary as Hereditary or Midsommar, it still is dipping its toes a bit into horror. You can definitely tell Ari Aster directed horror movies before this movie, because there are moments that aren't necessarily scary, but they are just so tense and suspenseful. So enough talking about Ari Aster's previous work. Let's talk about Eddington. Is this movie any good? Going into this film, I had high hopes, and right before this film, I watched the new Smurfs movie. So I was just wanting to die. The Smurf movie just destroyed me. It was awful. Please don't watch it. Just watch Superman or Eddington instead. So with high hopes to go see this movie, I think the Smurfs actually lowered my expectations and made me think this film was better than it was. Because after watching the Smurfs, anything will seem better than it is. Just to give you guys a sense of how bad the Smurfs was, there was the part where a Smurf says, "I just smurfed myself."
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
I just saw all the plot beats coming from a mile away for the Smurfs, and it was just a horrible experience. Don't watch it. It's not even good bad, it's just bad, boring. Anyway, write down below if you want a review of the Smurfs, but this is a review of Eddington. Walking out of this movie, I did not like it at all. I just thought it was dumb. But this film kind of grew on me, actually. The more I thought about it, the more I liked it. And don't get me wrong, this isn't some grand masterpiece. Don't go into expecting it, but it's also not as awful as everyone is saying, I feel like. One thing I really liked about this film is it does a really good job with its characters. Although this film doesn't really give you anyone to root for, I would say Joe Cross, I didn't really like him. In the beginning, I just did not like Joe. But as the movie went on, I guess you slowly care about him more. It makes you kind of sympathetic towards him, even though you may not agree with what he does. Sorry, I'm trying hard not to spoil this movie for you guys. I didn't like Joe Cross in the beginning, and then I slowly felt more sympathetic towards him, but then I just ended the film hating him. And that just goes into saying this film does a really good job at making these characters feel real. Although you may not agree with them, you may hate them at some points, but they all feel like people that you'd see on the day-to-day in 2020. And I just want to say, another pro for this film is that it's shot great. I really liked how this film was shot. I thought the editing was good, and I thought the sound design was really good. And the acting was just amazing. With Pedro Pascal, Joaquin Phoenix, and Emma Stone, the cast is freaking lit! Now on to the negatives. First of all, I thought a lot of the jokes were just very mean-spirited. And I know a lot of people have been saying that, but I just have to bring it up. I did not like some of the jokes that were in here. I also found some of its themes interesting, but I thought this film was kind of unfocused. This film is trying to say a lot of things, and some things stick more than others. And I think this just might be a personal preference, but I like films that are kind of like hyper-focused on its theme. Like it has 1, 2, or maybe 3 themes that it just kind of focuses on. But I just feel like this film was just trying to say way too much. But with this movie trying to say a lot, I felt like there was a couple of moments that felt a bit preachy. But besides that, I thought this film did a really good job at kind of staying out of being like preachy, you know? This film tries to make fun of each side, and I feel like some of the things it critiques are mean. And a lot of the times this film ends up sounding cruel. So in conclusion, what should I give this film? Spoilers for my final review, by the way. Well, I kind of wish this film went further than, look how silly all this was. And it does touch on ideas that seem to go further, but fails to explore them. In the end, a massive tech company wins. But I feel not enough time was given to that theme throughout the film. I do think this is a compelling film, but there are cases where it feels mean. There are points where it mocks people, but I feel that goes against what this film is trying to say. I think this film is trying to expose how radical everything has gotten, and how far-right conspiracies corrupt people, but then the movie points and laughs at the people getting harmed. This film tries to dissect 2020, but it does it in such a cruel way. The final compelling theme I want to talk about is how the characters in this use ideologies to get what they want, like how that kid tries to impress the girl. Though I do think that theme gets lost in the sauce in the end. Anyway, I'm going to give Eddington a 7 out of 10. Please like and subscribe, and see ya.